Hello students, welcome to UNP classes. Myself Umanath Pandey, and today I will discuss about the very first chapter of your first unit, and that is the living world. Dear students, before discussing what are the different key points of these chapters, we have to understand what is a living organism. Normally, whenever we say the term organism, three different domains come into effect. These are the microorganism, that is microbes, plants and animals, and they all possesses life, and that is why they are called living. So what is life? Actually, to understand the various features of these organisms, the similarities between these organisms, the fundamental activities of these organisms, we have to make clear the term life. It is difficult to define life. Students, a living organism is primarily physico-chemical material that demonstrates a high degree of complexity. It is capable of self-regulation. It possesses a metabolism and it has the property of self-replication. To many biologists, life is an arbitrary stage in the growth complexity of matter with no sharp boundaries between living and non-living beings. If you go to the history of the evolution of living beings from non-living to living, you will learn about it certainly, that how they came into effect, they came into existence. A living organism has built-in regulatory mechanism and it has the capacity to interact with the environment. It has the capacity to sustain its structural and functional integrity. All the reactions occurring in the organisms are either of constructive type or they are of destructive type, and commonly they are called metabolism. So the metabolic activities are present in the living beings. They have specific molecules containing information in their structure and are utilized both in the regulation in internal reactions and in the production of new living units. This is the revision exercise. This is the points, these are the points to remember, these are the revision points essential for the notes purpose. We will define in detail each and every point of this one. So if you define life, you can simply say that life is a complex organization. It means, complex means so many types of activities are present in a single place, and that is why it has been called complex and organization. Organization means a place or a workplace where all the activities are cooperating as well as integrating other activities. So life is a complex organization expressing itself. It means it is showing, it is making its presence through various chemical reactions, and that is why they exhibit some characteristics of living beings, some fundamental characteristic features which are only present in the living beings. And what are these features? All living forms exhibit certain characteristics which are regarded as features of life. These observable features distinguish living beings from non-living beings, and the major attributes of living organisms are given here. Actually, these are the growth, reproduction, metabolism, cellular organization, consciousness, self-replication and self-regulation. Normally, these are the very small terms, but they have the broad explanation. If you try to define all these activities, it will take time. And that is why we normally take 2 periods, that is 90 minutes, to define these fundamental activities of life. One main key point that has not been included here, I will tell you, and this is nutrition. Simply, nutrition is a very common term which we have been using since our previous classes. All living organisms need food, which is assimilated and used as a source of energy and materials for living processes such as growth. Can you imagine the world of organism without any kind of nutrition? If they will not take nutrition, how they will process these activities? How will they be able to perform these life activities? So the first fundamental requirement is the nutrition. And how will you define the nutrition? Nutrition is the process of taking nutrients. If you take any kind of nutrient inside your body by any means, then it is called nutrition. After nutrition, the second important thing is metabolism. Actually, two types of activities are taking place inside our body. Either two things are combining to give one product, that is AB, like the combination reactions which are taking place inside your body are giving certain products by combining two materials, or the vice versa takes place. One material is destructed to give two different or simple materials. So there are two processes. The first process is called anabolic process, in which two substances combine to give rise a new substance, and the best example is photosynthesis. Here carbon dioxide, water, these two molecules combine together to give glucose and oxygen. This glucose is the product of anabolism. There are so many activities which are also being performed in our body, and these are called anabolic activities. So this is the constructive process. Certain things are being made during this process. The second process is the catabolism, like respiration, the opposite of the photosynthesis. Here this glucose is broken down into carbon dioxide plus water. So this is the destructive process. This is opposite to the anabolism, and these two types of processes simultaneously are called metabolic activities, and these metabolic activities are actually the convergence of biomolecules, that is the chemical reactions. There are thousands of metabolic reactions occurring simultaneously inside all living organisms. Metabolic reactions can also be demonstrated outside the body in cell-free systems, but no non-living object exhibits metabolism. Now, if we talk about the respiration, all life processes require energy, and much of the food obtained by nutrition is used as a source of this energy. And you can simply imagine that what is the role of this energy in your daily life. So the energy is released during the breakdown of certain energy rich compounds by the process of respiration. The energy released is stored in molecules of adenosine triphosphate, which is also called ATP, that is the coins of the energy, and this compound occurs in all living cells. That is why respiration is also the fundamental characteristic feature of all the living beings. Here some other things are. Now you would have been thinking that why I have not started with the growth and reproduction. Actually, the growth and reproduction are not defining properties. Defining properties means actually they do not define whether this is a living or non-living being, because some of the living beings never show any kind of growth in their lifespan. They never grow. Mostly the unicellular organism hardly express any kind of growth activity. Simultaneously, the process of reproduction is also not shown by all the living beings, like workers of the honeybees, some human beings which are incapable of reproduction, and most of the animals which are not able to produce the offsprings due to any kind of problem, like mules, sterile workers of bees, infertile human couples. So can we say that these are not living beings? No, they are living beings, but due to certain conditions or certain problems, they don't have the property, or they don't have the capacity to reproduce their own kind. So that is why these are not the defining properties. A living being may be present without these processes, and that is why these are not defining properties. Now, the term cellular organization is very important. It has been observed since the discovery of the first cell by Robert Hooke that all the living beings have cellular organization. They may be unicellular or they may be multicellular. They may be small or they may be large, but all of them are made up of cells. If cells are not present there, then they will not be considered as a living being. One most important thing here is the consciousness. Consciousness means the ability to sense the objects present in the environment. You all have the capacity to get the feelings, to get the senses, whatever is happening around you. It means you have the ability to sense environment. Any kind of living being would show certain types of sense. If it is non-living being, like your chair, your mobile phone, your table, your house, whatever is a non-living being, will never show any kind of consciousness. The next important activity is the self-replication. Self-replication, whenever comes, is the cell division. Suppose this is a single bacteria and it has the capacity to produce its own kind. Actually, its clone, its copy, then it is called self-replication. Replica means copy, and if any organism is making its own photocopy, then it is called self-replication. Most of the living beings are capable of doing this one. The next important property is self-regulation. Whatever processes are taking place inside their bodies, they have certain type of control over it. If you are feeling cold, your body will start shivering. What is this? This is the self-regulation to produce some kind of heat by contracting and expanding your muscle cells. So, all the living beings have the capacity to regulate their life activities, and this is called adaptation. So, all the living beings have the property to adapt according to the various changing climatic conditions, and this is not represented by a non-living being. Now you are able to define that what are living beings. So simply, how you define the living beings? The living organisms are self-replicating, evolving. It means they have the ability to evolve, to change themselves according to the changing climatic conditions, self-regulating and interactive systems capable of responding to external stimuli. It means they have the tendency to respond to the various outer stimuli. So these are the organisms which can express these life activities. If we discuss about the differences between non-living and living beings, so we will have certain differences which are clearly marked. Actually, these hawkers, I am very sorry for the external disturbances which are being created by the hawkers which are selling the vegetables during lockdown period. So I am sorry. Actually, when we compare with the living and non-living beings, then living organizations have more complex organized structures and their use of energy is more controlled and efficient. Every living thing is organized into one or more cells, which are assemblies of large fragile molecules enclosed within semi-permeable membrane. Living things acquire energy and matter, that is atoms, from their surroundings. They then use this energy and matter to maintain their own structural organization as well as to grow and reproduce. Chemistry of life is governed largely by enzymes, which in turn are controlled by genes. Living things reproduce their own kind by forming new cells. Chemistry of life is governed largely by enzymes, which in turn are controlled by genes. Living things reproduce their own kind by forming new cells, which contains copies of their genes. Each organism has some degree of homeostasis, that is, it is able to make adjustments so that its internal environment remains relatively constant despite changes in the external environment. The newly formed individuals go through a process of development governed by instructions within their genes. So I think I am getting so many disturbances from the outer environment, and hence I am stopping this lecture today. So we will discuss on the next characteristic features, next points of this chapter, that is biodiversity, and why do we need them to classify in different groups, and we will also discuss the three domains of life. So dear students, I am still waiting for the responses as you have not responded to the previous video lecture. So what do you think? How is your studies going on? Please tell me in the comment box, and if you have any kind of suggestion, you are also free to give it. Thank you and have a nice day.